I didn't know how. I wouldn't say there's a lack of comprehension in the comprehensiveness in the USADA test, but they're not bulletproof.
Yeah, it's not that they're not trying. It's like they only have so much. Well, I guess like who's interpreting that? Some people might say otherwise, but it is budget restricted, so you can only do so much testing on every fighter, and then sometimes their choice of who's being tested though is definitely a little bit iffy. Like there was the light heavy guy, I think it was Jiri or what's his name?
Yuri Prohaska?
Yeah, he was tested like
51 times.
Yeah, and then if you looked at like a Dillashaw, he was tested like 9 times or something, which is just like, why? Yeah.
Right.
You
Why
know?
is he tested less?
Yeah, like some of the most
pop.
premier suspect guys were tested like single-digit times, and this other guy somehow has like half of USADA's fucking budget allocated to him. Like,
Right.
I get that he was new in the actual sport, like he was coming from, I forget where he came from exactly.
Well, he was not new in MMA. He
No,
just
no, no.
wasn't fighting.
New to the UFC, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that some people have put out is they needed to establish more of a comprehensive passport on him quicker so that he had more elaborate testing off the jump than...
Look at that, though. That's so nuts.
Yeah, it was a really...
He's so much more tested than anyone else.
Yeah, it was like a wild disparity.
Wild. Rose Namajunas got tested more than Paulo Costa. That's crazy. Neil Magny got tested more than Paulo Costa. That is nuts.
And for Dillashaw only getting single-digit tests, it was like...
Yeah.
It just very much brought into question, like, were they hoping he'd have more leeway in order to not have, like give him the opportunity to actually have a good fight when he's
Right.
coming back, sort of thing? Like, there's a lot of speculation, obviously. You couldn't say one way or another what actually is going on. And they're very tight-lipped about... Like, they don't reveal test results anymore like they used to. Back in the day, you could actually get, like, John Jones' fucking urine analysis and interpret it yourself and, like, see what's going on. Whereas now, it's like if a guy pops or whatever, like, it's very... You can't really get insight onto what their decision-making process is. Like, even when asked about Conor, they were very, very vague in their answer. It was very much just like, this is what the rule set is for getting in and out of the pool and the testing window that you need to be subject to in order to be qualified to fight again. And that's it. We're not going to speak on any individual fighter, or what has happened with them or not happened with them, etc.
I blame you. I do. When you covered the John Jones situation, like that was very illuminating to me. I was like, oh, okay. And then you were talking about the test levels and the epitestosterone to testosterone ratio and how it was all off. And all of these points seem to indicate that someone who is supplementing with exogenous hormones.
Yeah, it was like a pretty comprehensive like picture that is hard to dispute.
Almost everybody that's in the MMA, that's in the UFC, takes PEDs. That's something nobody talks about. And this applies to most sports, but especially to combat sports. And people just don't realize it. It's like the Liver King thing. People don't understand what PEDs do and how they affect your body. So people just assume that if you don't look like Yoel Romero or Paulo Costa, that you're not on PEDs. But the reality is you are. All of those guys are. And that's the thing. Yoel Romero and Costa, of course, are. And they're part of the UFC. But they don't. They test negative. How do they do it? So how are these people? Well, there's a lot of ways. The easiest way is access, right? Access. You go away to fight camp. You take away access for USADA to you for a certain amount of time. You're unreachable. Can they force you to come in? They can't. If you don't come in, it's not like they kick you out. You have to be available. They have to give you a certain amount of time to notify you. And if you're outside the country, you're outside the country. If they're unable to notify you because you're at fight camp, you're at fight camp. And so these are the periods of time that you can block out to do PEDs to enhance yourself. And there are PEDs, they have a very short Easter that literally can leave your system in 24 to 48 hours. And so this is the kind of stuff. And you're doing 5-6 shots a day to maintain those levels. And you do it for a certain amount of time and you get out. And, this is stuff that is so pervasive. But listen, look at the guy that was, the cyclist, right? They won all those Tour de France's. And he never tested negative until the very end. And let me tell you, For cyclists and the Tour de France, they have some of the most advanced and rigorous drug testing in all of sports in all the world. And he was able to go for so long undetected because you have a team of people behind you, especially at those high levels, that all they do is work out these plans, and you won't get found out. You will not get found out. If you do, it's because you're sloppy. John Jones, why is he sloppy? Like, well, he has all that money, he has all that team, all those people doing it for him. How come he gets hit? Why is he being sloppy? For the same reason he got busted for drugs. For the same reason he got busted for the hit and run. He's sloppy. So if he's sloppy to the point where he's driving drunk and getting, hitting a pregnant lady and doing shit like that, of course he's also sloppy with his cycle and getting busted. And then those few times, then you wonder, but the reality is they're all on it. All of these people are on it. And we just, I don't know, we're turning a blind eye. And I'm not trying to put people on blast, but that's the reality of it. So take it if you want or leave it, whatever. What do you guys think? Do you think people are doing it? Leave a comment and we'll start a discussion. Thank you guys. As always, bye Red and so green.